prohibition prohibition of importation of one-time use plastic and styrofoam items. So considering that it's already been 2 years, we've that the law has already been in place. We're now working on a penalty, and we're just trying to educate the public on why certain types of plastics are not acceptable, especially the ones that we've targeted for this legislation, which include plastic shopping bags and styrofoam. So that's basically what I'm working on, and other projects that we have with our regional partners, such as SPREP and JICA. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but those are our regional partners when it comes to waste management. And under those, under them, we have we've collaborated with them on certain projects that address certain waste streams. So
yeah. I mean, the plastic issue is gaining momentum worldwide, and I hope that there is meaningful development. Absolutely. So is that a big problem also in Micronesia?
Oh yes, I mean, if you're familiar with small islands, I mean, small developing nations rely mostly on imported items. So we're a country of import, and that has posed a lot of problems, especially with contributing to our throwaway society. So yeah, the more we import, the more we throw, and then we have to also beef up our infrastructure systems to address how to, not just how to store, but how to deal with them. Of course, there are the 3 R's, but I mean, yeah.
I'd like to say hi to a couple other people. We have Andrew from Rwanda. Andrew, you want to say hello, my friend?
Hello. My name is Andrew from Rwanda, and I'm working as a volunteer for Mother Earth Project Rwanda.
It's hard to hear Andrew. He is from Rwanda. We were together in Glasgow last November. And for me personally, it was great to see a bunch of friends in person for the first time since the pandemic. Andrew was one of them. And we also have here Grace. Grace, can you hear me now? Grace is from Uganda. No? Okay. Why don't you, Leanne, why don't you share a little bit about what you're doing? Leanne is doing a lot of art. She's going to share, but why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the big issues you've been dealing with in Northeast Australia? It's just really impressive. Please go ahead, Leanne.
Yeah, okay. So I live out like about 5 hours west of Brisbane, near the Balonne River, which is flows down into the major rivers down through New South Wales, sort of thing. So, and I'm in a rural area. They grow cotton and cattle and all different sorts of things, like just grazing stuff. But anyway, the gas industry moved into the neighbouring shires and stuff about 10 years ago. And it wasn't coming here, so no one here was very worried about it. So then all of a sudden it was getting closer to here. So I started writing submissions to try to stop these gas projects, and I got all the documents and I read everything about it and read all the rules, and it's like, these guys have a blank check. They can just do whatever they want. And it's not good enough. So, I'm saying, well, these rules are not good enough. So what I did, there's an organisation here called in Australia the knitting nanas, and there's knitting nanas in the UK and some in America as well. And this started from a couple of women on keeping an eye on the gas industry down in New South Wales. They were bored, so they took their knitting along and they started knitting, and then more people joined them, and now there's just groups of people knitting all over the country, and I'd really love to see them knitting all over the world, like, you know, pick up your needles and knit. So I can show you a couple of pictures if you like, if this won't be take too.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, we'll try this. Let me have a look on here. And this one. Okay, so this here in the background, and I'm right back at the start, so we're going to have to go back to the top. Okay, we'll try again. Here we go. So I've said it's join the nanas and knit the kiddies a cooler future. So what the nanas do is they're knitting and protesting and being really out in public and talking to people about we need to do something to protect things for the kids, basically. So this is Patty, who, let me just get this out of the road. She created this beautiful rug that was behind me, and she wrote Stockholm+50 on it and Parents for Future Global, because I'm part of that organisation too. So this is what I would do. I would have a chair and my knitting. I'd stick some signs up on the wall with gas facts on there, a video with all the health impacts, and people would walk past and say, "What on earth are you doing, Leanne?" And I'm like, "Well, hey, did you know this gas is coming?" So I would be sitting out there looking unusual, so people would come and ask what was happening. That there is the manifesto, and if you look at on our website, you would find that. This is some of the nanas in the white. The UK nanas have seen lots of photos of them in white. Just these nanas dressed up to say vote for the planet for the election, and lucky it was good. These guys down here paddling, they the Newcastle nanas. We have the biggest coal port in the world in Newcastle. Some of the most amazing beaches. They paddle out once a year. A big group of people go out in protest and stop those boats for one day. And they do that every often. These group are outside my friendly local frackers. So we knit at sites where they're fracking or doing things. We also go and knit outside politicians' offices. We sit outside the companies' offices. So I would sit outside with the nanas in Brisbane when I go to the city. We sit outside this company called Santos. Santos promising the world that we're going to do carbon capture and storage and solve all your problems. We can keep extracting all the gas we want. It's never going to happen. Just a few more. Apart from knitting, we also bake cakes. And so these went into the local show. So we have a local agricultural show, or you might have a, like the school fete or whatever. We put a message on the cakes. This one, I got second prize at the show for my painting. I'm not a great painter, but that was just before the last thing. This was a big Stop Adani protest. I sort of gate crashed with the Don't Frack Surat sign. I've got the Water is Life one, and just some random people held the other one for me. That's our beautiful river. This one here, I stuck a bit of cardboard on the wall because all the kids would come and say hello all the time. And I had crayons and stuff there so they could draw what was important about the river. And these guys are from the Northern Territory, and there's some of the First Nations people up there. They were on their way to Canberra to talk to the politicians. They took the picture that the kids drew with them. So we'll jump off there. Yeah, that was just a quick look through of some of the things we do. Like I've made this big frame and I get photos of people in the frame. It's like Save Our River. We want farms and food, not a salt dump, and water is life. We've had some children's illustrators, do beautiful pictures about Mother Earth and looking after the planet. And so these we've had like an art display. And at my art display, I had the kids again saying what's important about the river, and they would paint for the kids. So we're trying to get all generations involved in doing the things. So I've got my knitting, this scarf. I started knitting back in 2016. I've got, actually this one here went through floods in Brisbane just a few months ago. We had really heavy rain because rain's getting more intense. That went through the floods. Poor Nana Patty got it out of the water, washed it up, and sort of, yeah, and I guess lots of people would know what that feels like when you're just salvaging what's left. So, but yeah, gas companies are trying to tell us they want to save the world. We're going to, you know, we're better than coal, and they're not in the short term, and they're just, yeah. So they're my enemy. I'm their enemy, I think. And we just do what we can, I guess. So today with Parents for Future, we've put a letter for every parent, grandparent, whatever in the world to sign asking for a fossil fuel treaty. And I'm sure Sandra or somebody, Barton, can flick you the link for that sometime. And we want people signing on that. These ones, I think they wouldn't let me on the plane. Like, yeah. But yes, I was just using the art, but also using the head sort of thing. So you're using that to engage with people and to get people on side. So I know from talking that 85 to 90% of my community do not want fracking anywhere near us. And
yeah,
at the moment, yeah. So
thank you so much, Leanne. You know, I think the main focus of Leanne's work is she's trying to stop fracking, extraction of materials that obviously are fossil fuels in her region. And she's personally threatened by it nearby. And also obviously her whole country in Australia has to make this transition, a just transition away from fossil fuels. I'd like to just invite a few other people to say some things. First, I'd like to have Grace from Uganda say hello now that her microphone is working. Grace, can you hear us? And can you say hello and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Barton, for inviting me. Yes, I'm Grace Kiteng from Uganda, a climate change activist. I joined Barton in 2018, 2019, and then we got disrupted by COVID-19 really disrupted our work. But so far we are working in two areas. One, under Mother Earth Project, we are working with schools, primary schools and secondary schools. We take the parachutes to the children. We ask them to draw what they want their earth to look like, and they really think through it, and it is a beautiful thing to do. So under that project, we are also working with the schools to do forest gardens where they plant both wood and fruit trees. And then now this year, we've started supporting them with orange-fleshed potato vines for nutrition, but also helping them to learn how to practice mixed farming and climate-smart agriculture, starting with that young age of children. Otherwise, in Uganda, you will not hear me talking much about fossil fuel because we don't really have it much. It is there, but not so much. That effect is not there. What is affecting us here with climate change is the degradation of the land, the tree cutting. We use so much of fuel. For cooking, we use firewood and charcoal, and that is what is really destroying. It's the first #1 destroyer of the environment. So what for us we are promoting more is climate smart agriculture. Also, climate change has affected us a lot. The dry seasons are longer, so we are trying to see how do we do more of this smarter climate change agriculture, and then also seeing different ways of promoting clean cooking technologies, because most of the people, 80%, use either wood for fuel for cooking or charcoal. And so we are trying to see how do we get other clean cooking technologies to the communities, to the people in town, so that we reduce more on that, because even that charcoal, even the fuel wood also pollutes the air. There is a lot of pollution that comes from there. So how do we promote that? And that is one thing that we are trying to advocate for in the schools, to see that we promote biogas, the use of biogas in the schools, because it will give us two different benefits. One, they will be using the biogas to cook as the fuel, and then the bioauxiliary that comes out of the biogas will be used in the forest gardens that the schools have. So that is about me, and we are trying our best. I keep in touch with Barton and other members of CCI, and thank you so much.
Grace, so great to hear from you. And I just think everyone has such a different story to share of what they're working on. So thank you so much, Grace, for sharing your story. Really very captivating. I'd like to also say hi to Kwame from Ghana. Kwame, can you hear me? Can you say hello? Or looks like he went outside for a second. I muted you for a second. Okay, we'll come back to Kwame. Kwame, can you hear me? You have to turn on your microphone, unmute yourself. Go ahead.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead, Kwame. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what's going on in Ghana, please.
Presently, we're preparing, like I told you, Barton. Unfortunately, I had to go home to go bury my mother, but I'm presently back to Kumasi. And so we are planning early next week, 2 institutions in Ghana will be participating in the parachutes program.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Exactly. And the second thing I can report on is some unfortunate incident that is happening to one of our revered forests in the center of the city of Accra, the Achimota Forest. I have tried writing an article on it, and immediately after this, I'll send the article to you so that you would see if it's needful, then you do some editing and you share with the rest.
Okay.
It's about the unfortunate institution of our government trying to declassify the only living forest in the capital city of Accra, Ghana.
Huh. Wow.
That is our challenge for now. And I have to apologize to you in particular for not doing what I promised to do before I went. Unfortunately, incident happened and I had to go and bury my mother.
Very sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Kwame, very sorry to hear that. Yeah. Well,
and so I'm happy. So I'm very happy to join you. I was in traffic when I got the alert. I just parked somewhere just to relay this information to you and the rest. But then next week, it will be a live program. I'll be in contact with you once we start doing the parachutes.
Okay.
The schools are 2. Let me mention them. It's going to be Kwadaso College of Agriculture, the level 200 class.
Oops. I think we lost you for a second, Kwame. I see we have Sandra is setting up in Stockholm. We have, I muted you guys for the second, for the time being while you get set up. But in the meantime, I see we have my son, Benjamin Rubenstein.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I lost you for a second, Kwame. Go ahead and finish up, please.
Yeah, it was the internet. Oh.
please go ahead and finish up. We're just introducing people. Did you want to say anything else for the time being? Or are you okay?
Yes, for the time being, I'm very okay.
Okay, great.
Good. Yep.
I see we have Al Hassan from Sierra Leone. Al Hassan, you want to say a quick hello to everybody? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah.
Good afternoon from Sierra Leone.
So the people are joining
I'm
us.
happy to join you online. Thank you.
Barton, we are now online and we're going to here. This is a workshop room. Say hi to, how many I will call?
Right now we have 14 at the moment.
Awesome. I'm still looking for a caller. Nigerian friend, he's a poet who's supposed to be here. But
So just to explain to everybody what's going on, we have Sandra Prufer, who is our MEP director of the European Union, who is in Stockholm, Sweden presently for the Stockholm+50 event, which is a big conference sponsored by the United Nations. And it's basically a conference to continue the accelerated movement of keeping fossil fuels in the ground. And anyway, Sandra is there with a group of people, and she's going to be, soon as she's going to be taking over and leading this workshop. But basically, we have people from all over the world on this call, and I'm going to pass it over to Sandra now. Go ahead, Sandra.
we are still setting up here the technology.
Okay.
Okay, I'm giving a little introduction. Who's on this call? Leanne is not there yet, right?
Leanne is here with us.
Leanne!
Yes, we
Okay.
have people from, we have people from everywhere.
This is a session about artivism or craftivism. And this is a project that started, and Barton is going to say a little bit more about this. It was an artist from the US. And with kind of like Kellen Benson, who's also the Fridays for Future young teenage activist. She painted for the big climate strike in, when was it? I don't know, it's a long time ago. I think 70. She painted a huge parachute with a monarch butterfly because then they started this project, Parachutes for the Planet, and invited people all over the world to also paint play parachutes. You can actually play with them, and then and so schools and initiatives all over the world, they're using these parachutes for the planet as a metaphor, you know, like to save the planet. And it's really interesting how in different countries, because they're everywhere, in India, people are doing this. And we also, I actually brought a set of parachutes here to Stockholm. And that was painted by, you know, like more than 20 climate activists in the US and in the state of Washington. And it has the wording over profit. And the idea was actually to display this today. Hopefully we can still do it on Friday somewhere. And if you have ideas and you're local, let us know. But Barton, he can also show us some video and how it mock up how it was supposed to look like. And then Leanne Bummel, she's from kind of like in Australia. She lives in the bush. It's kind of and she's fighting fossil fuel extraction, and then they call the knitting nanas. So these are kind of like women that are sitting there and, you know, like protesting and sitting on, you know, that, and, you know, knitting kind of like a protest, but they really do beautiful art. And then hopefully we also have, yeah, my Nigerian friend here somewhere. He's a poet, journalist, but also has, he's now teaching Yoruba African Studies in University of Florida, but he's using arts and storytelling also to, you know, behavior change or makes people think and then eventually act. And this is kind of like an oral tradition also in Africa, this kind of storytelling. And then hopefully we also have a Dutch poet joining us in. He's actually a climate scientist and very much stressed out about the situation. I think he has also children, but he can ask him questions. And he started ahead of the COP22 a project, like 100 poems, and they left us a broken planet. And he took some evidence, study or some article that he found and wrote a poem, and he published them. Yeah, like in 100 days, you know, on the internet, and then you can also look it up. You know, on the left us a little broken planet, and he posted them on the internet and Insta, but also to get reach them emotionally, because that's what people now feel. You know, art. Yeah, and the last poem is healing the world with poetry, because he really felt like this is worth it. Do I reach anyone with this? And so I think we can also discuss it as a question. Can we reach other audiences? And do we have a sound?
Yes, we're listening to you, Sandra.
Cole is now also here. Well, we have kind of like here. Come on here. You're one of the storytellers.
Am I still telling any story? I went to the park.
Okay. So Cole has also joined us, and he can do a little bit African storytelling and maybe read one of his poems that's fitting to the issue, or just like with some. Here's the program. But maybe you start now, and I think Leanne. Oh, Frank is there too. Frank Knodau, that guy, Germany. He's also doing a project, an arts project with kind of like little kings and queens. And basically every person is royal, you know, no class. And he's sending these wooden figures in the world. And they've been in climate marches and, you know, in Hong Kong at protests and
Google Fi, a phone plan by Google. See.
Okay, Barton, do you want to do now that? Can you hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you. Why don't you tell us what you want to do, and we will follow your directions. We have Leanne on the line. We have Rolf on the line. We have.
I think you can maybe present the Mother Earth project, because I still want to get maybe this display going, and maybe you can also show it how it would look like.
Okay.
Because it didn't work out, and then of course Lakshmi, what they did in
yes.
Kind of, yeah, but really short about the project, but more like showing
yes.
what they're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Okay. All right. I would like to say hello to everybody. This is Barton Rubenstein speaking, and I am a co-founder of the Mother Earth Project, which our family began in 2015. I have my son on the line, Benjamin Rubenstein, who is he's located in New York City presently, but my family is all over the United States. My daughter's in New Orleans and my son is in Oregon. My wife is here in DC with me. So I'm based in Washington, DC. but basically our project, I'm a public artist. I do sculpture around the world, mostly in the United States. And we wanted to, in our hope to make a more sustainable world, I decided to use art as a way to empower people around the world, to activate them to take more sustainable actions, not only individually, but as a community. And also once a community is activated to do things together, that they actually go to their local politicians and demand better climate laws for their country. And as you can see, our project started with the Mother Earth sculpture, which is this one, you can see, which is in different countries around the world. And Laxmi is with us here from India. She has one of them there. There's about 7 of them there. But in addition to the sculpture, which is now the symbol of sustainability, we've also created murals around the world. This is one in Zimbabwe as a sort of a more permanent display of sustainability. Our major project, though, is the Parachutes for the Planet project, which is basically taking play parachutes, which are the ones that you play with as kids, and we distribute them around the world to different communities, and they basically will decorate them with different images. And here you see this one in front of the U.S. Capitol. If it's melted, it's ruined. We had a big event there, and we obviously support Greta's movement, Fridays for Future, and Sandra is very involved in Parents for Future. I thought I'd show you this video of parachutes around the world so that you can see what people do with their parachutes. And art is a very special media for expressing one's feelings, and it's a great way to connect. But basically, we ask people to gather around a parachute and share their ideas, their concerns, and then together they begin to decorate. And by doing that, they learn from each other. So here, I'd like to share this. Sorry about the ad, but we'll show this briefly and take a look from around the world of different parachute communities. Now we're in 80 countries, and we have about 4,000 parachutes distributed worldwide.
Big on Samsung Galaxy A series.
Hi, everybody. This is Barton Rubenstein, co-founder of the Mother Earth Project. Today, I want to share with you some very powerful video clips from parachute communities all over the world. These communities have been decorating their parachutes, marching and striking with them, taking them to their local politicians to demand better climate laws, and also planning and doing sustainable actions together as communities. This is very exciting, and I'm really hoping that you enjoy these short little clips.
Okay, bye, Les. Have a good game. Okay.
It's Alec Baldwin here. I would like to nominate Alan Betts Champions of the Earth, Parachutes for the Planet, Fridays for the Future programs. She's a young environmental leader.
Is this the community theater? This thing, is this the community theater for your presentation? What? No, Because we're supposed to be here to get like confirmation from our school that we left. Oh, I think we must. Well, these people, they set me up here. I'm so sorry. Okay.
Is this called a
Huh?
you call this talk like a tool for children?
Yeah, I mean, just like showing how, because this is a people summit for this UN conference going on here, and people are.
Yeah, but is this the event you're hosting? Is
Yeah.
it called a tool for social change?
No.
No, what's it called?
It's I think, what is this called? Mother Earth Project Activism
I
Workshop.
think, yeah, det stod i andra rummet.
Ja,
vi hann, vadå?
Okay, this is in Bonn where I live.
Yeah, all right. Oh, where you live?
In Bonn, Germany.
Yeah, a lot of you guys are from Germany. Is that like, why? I'm talking about people that are from Germany.
Yeah, they had an event today, earlier at 10. Barton. Oh, I think this is in Mexico when the Pope was visiting or so. They have like a Catholic youth day or something.
Our parachutes are sent to us from our friend, but obviously the co-founder of Mother Earth Projects. And let's go through there. We have about 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I should do.
This is a who's about. So where is my
Barton? Barton, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm back.
And because I'm here, some,
yeah, Dr. Barton, can you hear me?
And it would be great if you could show the Tacoma display, because then they can maybe come up with where to do this.
Okay, so thank you for that. Sorry if that was a little bit long, everybody. But I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to see. 1 second here. Let me just pull this up. No, I'm sorry. Just take a second.
I was trying to listen to the Joy News. Oh. Yeah.
All right. Okay, here it is. Yeah.
Because I brought it all the way from Bonn.
We're gonna pin it. Yeah, we're gonna pin it. Yeah.
No, but this display, I want to put that somewhere, and I'm leaving on Saturday.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so these are, if everyone can hear me, this is Sandra.
Yes.
I have these pictures. So basically, we have a bunch of parachutes that were created by about 20 different environmental organizations in the state of Washington, which is in the northwest corner of the United States. And they basically created this series of 16 parachutes that say people over profit, which is a very powerful message. They place it in front of their government buildings in Tacoma, Washington, with the hope of telling the politicians there that they need to stop focusing on profit and focus on creating a sustainable state that is focused on the people and environmental justice. So Sandra has taken these parachutes to Stockholm with the hope of displaying them, and she's working to do that. But I wanted to show you this is actually a rendering, not of the act.
The local authorities and the organizers, I said we cannot do that. So
Right. So Sandra, I can't hear you so well, so come a little bit closer to the microphone when you talk.
No, I mean, can you show the display, the original from Tacoma, because then I think the only option we have.
Yes. Okay. 1 second. Okay, hold on. Here it is, right here.
Yes.
But this is the picture.
You have 100 trees of citrus. Yeah, it's money. Well managed. Yeah, well managed money.
Okay, so this is the picture with the drone. If you can see it now, it's basically looking down. I have some video. If you
know the difference, yes. You just go and
let me see here. I think people are making some noise.
this looks like the white, this looks like the red.
1 second. Anyway, so this is what basically the picture that you wanted to see, Sandra. Is that correct?
Yeah, because I wanted to get some ideas from the young people here from Stockholm where we could do this.
So, you needed this
Right.
for like, because right now we can't do it.
Okay, so what?
No, I'm here till Friday. Okay. But then just like an idea, where could this be? Because it could be also a big lawn or
In a park or
in a park, yeah.
or a road like that.
Yeah, so basically we're trying to find a place to place this group of parachutes. It's a very large display, but obviously the larger visual display, the more impact they can make, not just for people there, but also for the media. They might be interested in taking photos and displaying that.
Yeah. And okay, because I think Leanne, she's in Australia and it's already getting late there.
Yes.
Can you go there and like Leanne, she was supposed to be here.
Yeah.
But she
Okay.
traveled to Stockholm because she got infected with COVID.
Okay, Leanne. Leanne, why don't you? Okay, I'm going to let Sandra, I'm going to let Leanne take over now, and she's going to share about her project. And if you could, start by sharing, Leanne, the big problems that you have in Australia, and then share how you're using art to do that, to activate your communities. Go ahead, please.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Leanne. I'm on Gamilaroi country and I'd like to pay my respects to the traditional owners of the land here. Land in Australia was never ceded, and we say it always was, always will be Aboriginal land. So I'm about 5 hours west of Brisbane, if you look on a map of Australia, so I'm out in the middle of nowhere. About 10 years ago, gas companies came to, not my town, but like distance is nothing here. So like there's like 400 kilometers away. Then they got to 200 kilometers away. Now they're like 100 kilometers away. So I found out that there were kids that were getting nosebleeds and stuff, and that live near these gas fields. And I started a petition and took that to the government to get toxicology tests so they could test these kids' blood to see what's wrong. Government said no. So anyway, those kids are now safe. They're out of there. But anyway, then I had also met some women, some older than me women, and they're the knitting nanas. Now, knitting nanas stopped gas projects down in New South Wales. Like they, amazing women who wear black and yellow. They go out and knit at you know, where there are projects or whatever. And outside politicians' offices, outside gas company offices, coal mining offices, support like the school strikes and do all those things. So I decided, well, they said, why don't you start a loop? They call them a loop, not a group. Start a loop out home. So I did that, and I started sitting down the street knitting. And, you know, I took a chair and I'm sitting down outside the bank knitting of a Saturday morning, and people are going, what on earth are you doing, Leanne? And I'm like, oh, did you hear the gas was coming to town? And I started sticking things all over the wall at the bank to tell them where it was happening, what was happening. I had a video with all the health impacts and really just creating awareness around the place. So I've been knitting this scarf since 2016. Other nanas have knitted way longer ones than that. And we make little sunflowers, different things. This one over here, I'll just show you, because this has got Stockholm+50 on it, Parents for Future Global, because I was supposed to be coming to Stockholm, and one of the nanas actually did this for me to bring with me. So what's happening here is they started fracking. So when all these gas projects were approved, there was no fracking, and they started their decline. So I've been doing submissions to try to stop the gas projects as well. So apart from knitting, I'm legally trying to stop them with all the legal means that we have. The public get to have a bit of a say about things. So I'm pulling apart their rules and regulations, of which there were basically none. Trying to get these things stopped. Our environmental laws are still pretty crap. So other things I do, I've made a big frame. This has got, I don't know if I can show you all this. I get people in the frame and take their photos down near the river or just out the street, so that people can show their support of what's happening. But by sitting up there for over 2 years knitting every Saturday morning, everybody got to know what was going on and that these projects are not worth here. So I'll just share my screen and show you this one. So these are some of the different nana groups from around the place, and some of the nanas. There's a huge big movement of nanas here, and there's a couple of groups in the UK and a couple in America, but it would be really wonderful to see people pick up their knitting needles and get out on the street and knit, crochet, whatever you can do. So I'll just show you, apart from knitting, we would also, must be this one, no, must be this one. Oh, hang on, let me go back to here. We'll get back to here. Sorry guys, I'm just a bit, here we go. Put this up again. This technology just gets a bit much sometimes. So this is Patty, who knitted the lovely rug behind me. She's a wonderful nana. This is when I very first started out. I think actually when I first started, I only had the chair and my knitting and the bag sort of thing. So then I started sticking all the things on the wall. That's our rules. These are some of the nanas. These ones down here at the bottom in Newcastle. It's the biggest coal port in Australia. They just went out the other month in kayaks and stuff, and they stopped the ships, not just them, a whole big group of people, but they do it at least once a year and go and stop the coal ships from going in and out the ports. These one is in white up the top, did this just for our election, saying vote for the planet. These guys are outside my friendly neighbourhood frackers. So we're using craft, we're knitting all over the place. So apart from knitting, we also make cakes. or I make cakes. And you know, this is something you can take to morning tea at work or something with a message. I got second place in the local show for my painting, which is not real flash, but I had a go. This is a big Stop Adani protest. So this is it's to be the biggest coal mine in Australia. It's on Indigenous, like Aboriginal land. The traditional owners don't want them there. They're actually having ceremony on their land there at the moment and trying to stop it. We've had floats. This is my beautiful river that they're fracking upstream. This one I got stuck a bit of cardboard on the wall and got the kids up. They could draw pictures on there, what was important about the river. We gave that picture to these guys who were from the Northern Territory. They're fighting off gas companies up in the territory. Some of the more nanas, I like this picture here. This is pretty much what we did, is just go and do something different to draw attention. And and what else have we got? I think, did I show? I also get kids to do things as well. So we've done this painting, like they paint and draw what's important to them about nature and stuff. So it's a way of getting art to, we're using art to engage people and to teach them about climate, to teach them about fracking.
Maybe we can start a first round of questions. And Barton, if you see here our Broken Planet poet, let me know. And does anybody here have a question? No? Someone from the online audience?
I have one.
Okay, we have one question here from our audience. Maybe can you come here a little bit closer? Yeah, here. Yeah. Introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Elizabeth, and I wondered, are there any men or boys within the knitting groups?
Yes, there are, and some of the groups are called Knitting Nanas and Friends. So actually, to be a knitting nana, you do not have to be a grandmother. You do not have to know how to knit. You just have to care about wanting to leave a better world for the kids, like for the kiddies. Like, you know, we say we're trying to save the land, air, and water for the kiddies. I think we've been doing this longer than before. Before people became aware of the climate stuff as well. So when I first started fighting off these gas companies, it was all about the effects on the health impacts on the land and the impacts on the underground water here and stuff. Like the gas companies near here, they're using 4 times the amount of underground water every year than all the towns in the gas fields use. So like in 10 years, they've used 40 years of underground water, and that's no longer there now for drought and stuff in the future. Like it's like they're stealing from the future. And also the, every single one of those gas wells, all the stuff under the ground actually stays under the ground literally forever. So, and it all falls apart and leaks and stuff. So they put a bit of concrete in the top of the pipe, put some dirt over it and run away with their money, and it's left for the future generations and stuff. And in America, there's already places where those things start leaking again, like they've built suburbs on top of it, and kids are getting sick because this stuff's coming up out of the ground. So this is the future that's being left. So it's really scary to see that, like with this war happening, that countries are saying, oh, we're going to have to get gas from somewhere else. And it's like, well, no, you've got to you got to use renewables. You can't have this gas. Gas has got to has to be gone, just like coal. So the impacts of gas over 20 years is worse than burning coal. And I know our government in Australia looks at 100-year impacts. They don't look at 20-year impacts. So over 100 years, it's like, oh, well, gas is better than coal, we'll use gas. And it's like, well, no, you can't it's just bad news. Like, we don't need to use it anymore. So there's no, no thing. This is the beret, the nanas knit this. I can't even knit this. I'm flat out knitting the scarf, and even my scarf has dropped stitches and stuff. Like, I've got, but anyhow, and I crocheted the other day too. We also crochet, so.
And here from our international online audience, does anybody has question what's going on here in Stockholm?
Yes, we would like to know. I mean, I have a question from Jean. I'm not sure whether Jean wants to chime in at this point. She had her hand up. Jean, are you with us? And if you are, can you tell us where you're from? Yes. Sandra, we would love to hear you. So just to reemphasize, Leanne is from Australia, and what's amazing is she's been doing this for about 10 years, and this is a story of determination and endurance. I think that's really what we need to emphasize to everybody on the call, is that this is about being determined to make changes in our own countries, and also to have endurance, that not to give up easily, and just to keep at it, and positive things will come and do come. But we would like to know, Sandra, if you want to share about what's going on in Sweden and what your plans are with the parachutes, we would love to hear. So either yourself or people that are there at the workshop are welcome to share.
Right. This is a UN Stockholm+50 conference, and this is to commemorate the first ever UN environmental conference, which happened 50 years ago, here also in Stockholm. But the official conference will start tomorrow. Now, ahead of this official, where, like all the environmental ministers come and UN staff there, and different discussions, there is this People Forum, 2 days. And we are right now here at the People Forum, which has a little bit more, as a people power. That's why it would have been wonderful to do this today, because today is also Global Action Day, and there will be a manifestation in the inner city of Stockholm, and there will be also a music program, and Greta might speak, or some other people. But there are also a lot of side events. And this conference is basically, it's, only one Earth. It's a motto also for the World Environmental Day on Sunday. And everything what we know, the Rio process and the foundation of the UN Environmental Program, this started here in Stockholm. Now, I mean, what have we accomplished in these 50 years? We are facing now 3 huge interconnected planetary crises, and that's a climate crisis, loss of biodiversity, and pollution. And there's also a big push here in Stockholm by various groups, and Leanne and the parents, but Mother Earth Project a lot, we need to get rid of fossil fuel, because we cannot accomplish anything. I mean, it's also now with the war in Ukraine. I mean, it's so obviously that this is a war fueled by fossil fuels. This fossil fuel Non-Proliferation Treaty Initiative. I mean, Leanne, she can also say a little bit. It started a little bit over a year ago, and there were a lot of people coming together. It's over 1,000 climate groups and NGOs that are supporting is kind of like Mother Earth Project was one, early organization endorsing this initiative, but there's also 101 Nobel Prize winners, a lot of scientists, faith leaders, youth, indigenous people. And what happened here now is that the Parents for Future also wrote a letter to world leaders demanding a phase out of fossil fuel and non-proliferation. This is for the younger people. In the early 70s, people considered nuclear weapons as the biggest threat to humanity. And there were, peace protests. There was also war going on, Vietnam War, and then some 5 states, countries that started this fossil non-proliferation treaty. And then more and more joined. But there are also other initiatives where, the world came together to tackle a threat. There was the threat of this ozone layer, like destroying the gas, destroying the ozone layer, and then there was Montreal Protocol. There's a treaty banning landmines. There's now, months ago, the UN started a treaty, to get rid of plastic pollution. But of course, fossil fuels is a big issue because, there's countries, industries involved, and they're not giving out easily. And instead of, like after the Paris Agreement, which is kind of like amazing that it was signed and that countries that set goals, but in this whole fossil Paris Agreement, the word fossil fuel, oil, gas, or coal is not mentioned. They only talk about emissions. Emissions. Yeah, but otherwise, like countries like Saudi Arabia or Russia or whatever, they wouldn't have signed it.
I have a question, like what are the consequences of not following the agreement that was done in Paris? If you signed it, is there some sort of, what do you call it, like, consequence? Is there some punishment?
Yeah, there's no punishment.
So what does the signature even mean?
Yeah, so the national governments, they signed this Paris Agreement. They set a goal to keep global warming below 2 degrees, ideally not more than 1.5. And we are now at 1.2, and we already see the consequences. But each government can set their own voluntary goals. And they set it way back, like 2050, let the others deal with this. And then there's also this, of course, who's caused this warming? But maybe, Leanne, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
So, we also calling on the industrialized nations, and Great Britain, say the big G7, Australia, and Canada, and the really big producers to become, front runners, with this phase out because they have the capacity, but also do it in a fair way, supporting the global south, and do it in a just transition. But Leanne, maybe you want to add something to that, because she's also working with Pacific Islanders. Oceania. These little island states, they're sinking. They cannot, for them, 2 degrees, it's they're gone.
It's really, really sad because at 2 degrees, just about every coral reef in the world would be dead. Now, coral reefs have all your fish and stuff, nurseries, that's just total disruption of the food chain. So, but the island nations here in the Pacific and elsewhere, the sea levels rising, these are really low countries, like some of them are mountainous, but some are just really flat sort of countries. The salt water's coming up, it's coming up through the bottom of the land and their farms. So these people have made no contribution to climate change. They would be, they grow their own food and eat out of the ocean and from what they grow on their farms. So the water's coming up under the farms, so things are getting salty, so you can't grow, your farms are dying and stuff. So, and some of these islands are predicted that they're going to go totally under the water. So these people have lived there for thousands and thousands of years. They have beautiful cultures, beautiful languages, beautiful art, and so it's a real part for me is to try to save their homes, basically, sort of thing, because they it's just by making a few changes, the whole plastic thing. To me, we've got to get rid of plastic. We have gas companies here saying, oh, you need us because we make, you need the gas because gas is in your lipstick, gas is in your shampoo, gas is in your plastic things, and it's well, we need to get rid of all that stuff. Hemp would replace plastic, it's more useful sort of thing. So especially the lipstick one got me. I'm sure there's a million women out there that would post a lipstick to you just to make the point. So we have, I'm hopefully going to be working more closely with the Pacific Island people. It's I've spent time in one of the islands, the really remote, no electricity, no hot water, no nothing, cooking on the fires and stuff, and eating out of the ocean and out of the gardens and stuff, and to then be living in a world where everybody goes shopping for new clothes all the time, or they're buying the newest plastic thing, and these gas companies are literally paying people to invent some new plastic thing so that you can buy it. And it's this is where it's got to stop. It's got to stop right from don't import plastic in the first place. So if governments stopped importing the plastic, well, these people are making no money, they'll stop making it, sort of thing. So I think we've got to work from both ends on all these things. So,
and also, there's with this climate letter, we also had two illustrators, one from Sweden and one from Turkey, designing this beautiful artwork. Oh.
Yes, we can see it. I can, let's see, I'll pull it up if I can. I thought, Sandra, let's see, I thought maybe to
And this is the other one, but you can also see it on the website. So it's also, calling on people, and we did distributing them here, with a QR code to sign the climate letter. And the idea is also to collect a lot of signatures, and we translate them in all languages. Kola is now working on Yoruba, we have Kiswahili, we have Farsi, Urdu, so that we really reach a global audience, and then till the next conference, mobilize, people that are maybe not really reached to the other, digitally, going to street fairs and, mobilizing. But I, because Lakshmi is there, Lakshmi, we don't see you all the time. Halfway. This is incredible that what we heard, and actually we didn't hear it for, almost a week, because everybody's only talking about the Ukraine war, this incredible heat wave that you've experienced. And
why don't we let Laxmi share some words? Laxmi, if you could turn on your microphone, and maybe your camera is a little bit covered up. So maybe open your camera. Maybe you have something in front of your camera, maybe not, but I can't hear your voice, Laxmi. You have to turn on your microphone. I still cannot hear you. Maybe you can turn on your microphone. We can't hear you, Laxmi.
No,
You have to turn on your microphone. Turn on your microphone, Laxmi.
Maybe you can turn on yeah, if you go to participate, if you go to the computer.
This is a postcard that Sandra was talking about. You can see there's young people pushing back the pollution in a book.
and there's also a second one.
Yeah, I'll show the second one.
Yeah, okay. While Laxmi is still working on her problem, maybe.
This is the other one.
Yeah, and this is Yasmin from Turkey.
Can you hear everyone to me?
Yes, Laxmi, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now I think good morning time is there, so I say good morning to you, everyone. In India, it is 5-6 p.m. So I think in Sweden it should be morning time. Again, good morning from my side to everyone. And time to time, I am doing my work from Mother Earth, and through Mother Earth, it is a very helping thing or best thing that we are going to promote everyone regarding the environment. This is the best way. By parachute we can show our art, we can show our feelings to everyone, we can have a rally, road march, road strike in city, and we can do every work through these parachutes, because parachute is such a language in which we can show our feelings very well with our art, slogans, everything. If you speak, nobody can understand, but if you show your slogans very well, they can understand your feelings, looking your art. So I am again thankful to Mr. Barden that he is sending us parachutes. And on Earth Day and 24th of March, this is a light arrangement on our sculpture. And on one parachute, I have taken the sign of all from fossil, fuel, and treaty. But that one is also, I send every four. One is totally full of sign from children and the visitors and all. But I thought you must have seen my sign, my parachute full of sign campaign. Have you seen?
Yes, we can see it. I have a picture of the Mother Earth sculpture in one of your parachutes. But basically, Laxmi has engaged many communities in India, and she has climate marches with the parachutes. She has done.
My March past is one of the best in our Jaipur. Everybody was appreciating about my March past because it was so disciplined, and whole of the police and every big officials were with us. And if you will see the whole reel, then you will come to know how much I took pain to engage all these things. But everyone appreciated about this March past. Now again by 22nd of March, now again on 5th of June, we are going to have a environment conference in some hotel, and there all the professors are coming, and we will speak there on this fossil fuel and treat it. We don't want. We are also against of fossil and fuel because, but due to some reason, I am not a big authority to say no, because it is you government to say no. I can be up. I can show my feelings. I don't want. I can discourage the public for these things. I can do I can play the action, but I can't take the decision behalf of government. This is only the problem with me. Government is there to do anything, but I myself don't want totally against of fossil and fuel. And it is we have to do. If the public will take the action, government will definitely, and our government is very flexible also. Mr. Modi is very flexible and he will do definitely. In our country, the people are taking action, petrol pumps are taking actions, in daily newspaper, such a lot of things are coming about this, to use, not to use fossil and all these things. So don't worry, we are also taking actions towards this fossil and fuel.
Yeah.
So,
thank you, Laxmi. Laxmi is one of our biggest volunteers in the world now. She's based in India and she has lots of connections throughout India and has been really unbelievable in basically spreading the word of not only our project, but just basically getting more and more communities to be more sustainable. So, you know, these are real things that are happening. I'd like to, there's somebody in the audience who wants to ask a question. We have somebody, Tumaini from Tanzania. Tumaini, can you turn on your mic and ask your question, please? Are you there?
Yes, I'm Tumaini from Tanzania. I would like to ask if we can get those Swahili's copy letters, Swahili's letters. So also I want to ask you if Swahili is there, can we get its copy, please?
You said you'd like to get a letter. You're talking about the fossil fuel letter? Which letter are you talking about, Tumaini?
Leanne, can you put the link into the chat?
I put the link of the fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty website. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, climate parents letter that was launched here. It's
whoever is interested, they can write anything to our website.
Sandra, I'm not sure which website you're talking about.
The Parents for Future Global.
Okay.
And there's a lot of language versions and we're going to add more. Ralph?
Would you like to have Rolf speak?
Well, Sandra? I don't know if he wants to say something about his project. I mean, this is also interesting.
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Rolf, could you please share your story a little bit with everyone, please, and tell us where you're from.
Sandra.
I'm not sure Ralph is there right now.
Hi, Sandra.
Hey.
I just sent a link to everybody to Tumaini. It's called parentsforfuture.org, and on that you have the links for the letter related to the fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty.
Yeah, it's another kind of like supportive letter.
Here's Rolf. Rolf, are you there? I saw you just came back into the picture for a second. I'm not sure whether he's in and out.
So, I mean, what's also happening here, I mean, now the news left, I have to go somewhere else. There's also going to be a climate strike here on Friday. And there's a lot of, international delegates here, but also various other side events. But do you remember the conference 50 years ago?
I was so willing to come to Sweden, but
Yeah.
the date was not. The date has gone. Then I can't open registration.
Yeah.
Date
Sandra,
expired. Date expired.
yeah.
So I couldn't, but I was very interested to come to Stockholm and Sweden in Baltic Sea. I was 7 years continuous. I was there in the conferences. Mr. Lavender and Mr. Lars Johnson.
Thank you, Laxmi.
Christina is also there, my friend.
That's
Rolf,
Sweden, yeah.
are you there, Rolf? Sandra has asked you to share something about your project. Are you there? Rolf, can you hear me? I don't know whether he can hear me. He's looking at the screen. Rolf Nobelach from Germany. Can you hear me? There you are. Hi, Rolf. Yes, we would love to hear a little bit, if you could share about your project. Sandra is in Sweden and has asked that you share some of your words. So please go ahead. Ralph, do you want to share something about your project?
Can you say something?
I'm not sure.
Sandra?
Ja?
Sandra, hörst du mich?
Ja, ich höre dich, aber der
Sandra,
Host.
Ja, Sandra, ich wollte nur sagen, ich spreche nicht gut genug Englisch. Der warten will ja, dass ich was sage, ne?
Ja, du kannst ja mal eine von den Statuen zeigen. Und dann, wie viele sind jetzt in der Welt unterwegs?
Ich würde mal sagen, ich sag dir was und du dolmetscht mich, ja?
Okay, ja.
Okay, ich hole eine Figur.
So he's saying something and I'm going to translate.
Okay, please go ahead.
Moment, ich bin sofort da. Also, derzeit sind ungefähr 500 Könige auf der ganzen Welt verteilt, unterwegs.
Yeah, so Ralph is a friend from Germany, and he's creating, I mean, he's a carpenter, but also working as, what is this, pastoral, I mean, like a church social worker for the Catholic Church. He has 2 children, but it's also, I mean, very much about, you know, working with people that are marginalized, homeless, done a lot of work with refugees. And then there was this idea, I mean, like about human dignity, and that every person is, what do you call that, like a king or a queen. You know, there should not be a difference. And these figures, they all look different, and they're sometimes not perfect. And they, it's about, you know, telling people, I mean, to give comfort, people in going through tough times, but also supporting the struggles of our time. I mean, they're more like, right now there are 500 of these figures in all sizes, and you know, traveling around the world. You cannot purchase them. And basically, Ralph is always looking for someone who kind of like adopts, you know, one of these figures and then doing something with it. But you can also give it then away to others. For example, I had this climate king. I went to climate strikes and also protest against coal mining. and took pictures there. But then eventually I went to Switzerland and met Fridays youth activist there, and I gave her Marie Graf this figure. And yeah, and then you can also ask Ralph, to set up, an exhibit. But basically, it's kind of like the project lives by people doing something with this art and fill it with a message, I would say. And these figures, they're really traveling all over the world in crisis zones, in disaster zones. Yeah. Did I put this in the right way?
Sandra?
Ja.
Vielleicht noch ein neues Projekt, was ich gerade mache. Die Flutkatastrophe im letzten Jahr hier bei uns an der Ahr und an der Erft hat sehr viele alte Häuser zerstört. Häuser, die teilweise 300, 400 Jahre alt waren. Ich frage die Eigentümer, ob sie bereit sind, von ihrem alten Fachwerk einen Balken mir zu geben, und ich mache ihnen aus Erinnerung an diese Flut einen König daraus oder eine Königin.
Okay.
Als Aufarbeitung der Flucht, und das ist ein Klimaprojekt.
Yeah, so you see Barton here is also one of these figures already. Almost a year ago, we had, there were these European flags. It was not just like Germany, but it really areas close to where Ralph and I lived, they were devastated. And this Ahr Valley, which is only, less than 50 kilometers from Bonn, 134 people died, and a lot of old houses that will get swamped away, but they cannot really rebuild this. But these are, sometimes houses that are, 300, 400 older. And then so Ralph is now offering to the families to give him, some of these old wood structure, these typical German houses that are very scenic, and he's going then to create one of this out of this wood that would have been thrown away. He's going to create a king and then give it to them so they have a memory of their lost homes.
Okay. Mittlerweile haben sich 15 Menschen bei mir gemeldet, denen ich einen König mache.
Yeah, and so meanwhile, 15 people, contacted him and saying, yeah, you must, do this for us. And it's, people in this valley, families, a lot of them lost everything. Of course, we've seen floods all over the world, in India and in Africa. Recently, is Leanne still there? No, she's gone. In Australia, they had flooding. But I think, for some of these people, these are family homes, in their family for centuries. And they basically lost all them, what they attached to, their, I would
Roots.
say,
Their roots.
Their roots, yeah. And so this figure would then still connect them somehow to their lost homes. And I think, this was this question of this, poet, can we heal the world with poetry, arts, and music? I think what we can do is, reach people emotionally and provide comfort. But he's also the caller, he's a poet, and he could maybe say something about this. and then of course of this aspect of storytelling. Because in the climate communication, people get all the facts, the scientific data, and then they have to process them. There's also Consuelo, she's from Peru. But you know, Consuelo, she can also maybe see how, I mean, her country is also very much affected by the climate crisis. How, I mean, she can express her own feelings, hope, grievance about this, but also reach maybe people in a different, I mean, another way.
Yeah, I think it would be great to hear from Consuelo. And I just want to emphasize that using art is not only about trying to activate communities, but we really have to also focus on our mental health, because the climate emergency is definitely raising the anxiety level of people all over the world. And I just was out in Oregon to visit my son, who is he's studying environmental sciences. And the teacher there, who is very intelligent and was speaking a lot about environmental justice in particular, said that, you know, at the end of their classes, they always focus on discussing mental health and anxiety and concerns to make sure that people that take their class don't leave with, you know, with more of a balanced emotional state. So they're not like leaving with more anxiety, which in the end is unfortunately what we're all dealing with, is the concerns about the future. But is Consuelo still here to share some words? She seemed to have dropped off.
Cool. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, it's ready for me.
No, but you have to go in the front because nobody sees you. You have to go, or you'll go there. Well, Kole, you can also say something. He's a Nigerian. Well, you can introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Kole Aderusola, and it's been quite interesting sitting through, listening to the fairs, and also the attention to details that most of us have given. But I'll tell you something, that when the parasites came, most of us knew nothing to do. We were almost paralyzed. And then came a parachute to lead us out of our fears, to provide for us an anchor that no matter what we've gone through, no matter what we face, that there is hope. The parachutes have traveled the world with words of comfort, with words that each of us should take action. I might sit here or stand on the idea that the world is not my home. I am just passing by. I have seen the tale of victory, and I know the details of winners. I have seen the tales. I've heard the tales grandma told their children, and I'm sure at the end of it all, there's a light at the end of a tunnel. But we cannot sit on our backside and expect that things will just happen. We must make it happen. Remember that when the parasite begins to eat up a human being, the parasite and the human being might go to the grave. And so we have become parasites on the earth. And there's no grave to bury our earth. Some have had plan Bs when things did not work. But I'm told we do not have a planet B. For us to be and be human, we have to remember that there's nothing that links us together like the spirituality. Something above the physical, something above our needs and our greed. We need to hold on to that metaphor of a parachute. Thank you.
Yay. Was it a premiere? No.
That was, Kole, that was very, very powerful. I'm very moved by your words. So thank you so much on behalf of the whole parachute community worldwide for your presentation. That was really very special.
Barton, are you recording this?
I am recording it, so we will be able to pull that out from the rest of the meeting, and maybe we can share that in other ways.
Barton, hi, this is Janina Keith.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. We've worked a long time together. I can't see where.
Yeah, they're back there.
Okay, hi.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I just to add to what you have to say, I think in terms of everybody having a little wild animal inside of them, okay? And this wild animal, which I often consider to be the activist soul, okay? It is something which we have to take care of. It is something which requires respectful relationships. It's like if you walk in the forest, if you go stomping around, every wild animal will fly away. But if you sit quietly beside a tree, that wild animal will be inquisitive and come and talk. And that is your activism. That part is what connects you through love to everybody else's activism. That's why you need respect. And that is what is, that is a part of us together, which is fighting for the climate. And your parachutes possibly represent those little wild animals inside of us as a group, as a community, as we shake them together and put them down. That's what it creates. And this is a really important part of us because it helps us to put away our consumer part, our worker part of our lives, and look towards the spiritual side within ourselves, okay? And connect via this spiritual side, because this is actually the part which we together can save ourselves and connect to nature and save nature and save climate. I feel that this is a very important part to both respect for each of us of our own and respect each other's version of this little wild animal, which is untamed. And it's important to allow this wild animal to be untamed.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. That's definitely a lot to absorb and think about, that wild animal inside me. You know, I think personally, our journey as a family has been really shaped in many ways by people like yourself and Kole, and people all around the world. Our parachute project is basically the compilation of many different ideas. I think one of the most powerful ideas that came to me started by that community in Mexico, which you saw, where they basically decided to take their hands and put it in paint and then put their handprint on the parachute. And that was their way of saying that they are committed to doing sustainable actions. And I started to promote that idea around the world, where it's called the call to action parachute, where people will put their hand on the parachute and then they will write down their first name and what their next action or whatever they wanted to share. And I must say that for about a year, I didn't personally do the handprint myself. And then one parachute I actually did, and I felt a very physical response inside my body when I did it myself. So there is something very powerful about the parachute project, and putting your handprint on the parachute has a very visceral feeling, which is, I think, what you're talking about as far as the wild animal is as well. I have a question from Kenya, from Eliud. Do you want to say something and share something, Eliud?
Yes, mine is not quite a question, but I just want to share with you what I'm doing here in Kenya. I am a teacher and a climate activist. So what we are doing basically is working with children, teaching them the effects of climate change and the action they can take. So we engage children from the age of 6 to the age of 16. We teach them about climate change, and after teaching them, we carry out practical activities. Currently, we have 5 schools on our project, whereby we are setting up tree nurseries in those schools, and we intend to raise more than 10,000 seedlings. These seedlings will be distributed to the children. The children will plant them at their homes, and they'll be taking care of those seedlings as we monitor the progress. And as the trees are being planted, the carbon is being reduced from the atmosphere, and the planet is being cooled. And also, the soils are being regenerated because they have been seriously degraded. So that is what we are working on, and we intend to have more and more schools coming on board so that we plant more trees, reclaim more soils, and reduce carbon in the air, as well as leading to sustainability. Because in the long run, we intend to include agroforestry, where the communities will have food while planting trees and taking care of our planet. And also, in so doing, we intend to get parachutes through which we'll be printing messages about taking care of the planet and distributing them around, so that for those who are not in the system or those who do not have the information will also get to know exactly what is happening and the action they can take. Thank you.
Thank you, Eliud. I really appreciate all the work that you're doing in Kenya, and it just really astonishes me all the things that you're doing and how that is happening all over Africa in particular. I thought maybe, Sandra, to invite Consuela to share a few words about what she's doing. And hi, Consuela, why don't you go ahead and
Hey, Barton. Hello, sorry, but I was a little late today.
That's okay. Please.
Yeah, I have another meeting, but I am happy that I can listen you and everybody. Yeah. I wanted to say about the parachutes here in Bonn. We are using all of the time in the activism or the environment demonstration, and the people are very happy to see that, and they are asking about that, and we are telling the people that the Mother Earth organization in Washington with you, they spend us this material, and they you support us, and they are inspired with these parachutes. And another one, I was in Ecuador, and I brought some Blanco parachutes that you sent me, and they give, and some artists in Ecuador, they wanted to meet with other people, but because of the pandemic, they couldn't meet, but we are planning to go to Galapagos, and then we will make a workshop with the people there in Galapagos Islands, and with the other parachutes, and we will send a video with this activity, because Galapagos is a very special point, natural islands. They are very concerned about the environment, And it is good that we are coordinating with a school to make a workshop with the parachutes. And because although the islands are very important for the life, for the animals and plants, but sometimes we think there are a lot of touristic activities, and that is not good for the islands, for the environment. And if they might do that, they should be conscious about the activities to protect a little bit the environment there. And for this reason, we thought Galapagos, it's a very good possibility, and we are coordinating with the major there to do this activity with the government together.
Thank you, Consuelo. It's so great to see you. And Consuelo made this beautiful, she and other artists made a beautiful parachute of our Mother Earth sculpture, which we have now and we display in different locations. I would like the opportunity to open for other people to speak on this call that have been listening. And if you want to share something of your story, please raise your hand. There's two people that I'd like to call on. One is Frederick from Ghana, and then maybe Linda from Tunisia, if she wants to share some. So Frederick, are you around to turn on your mic to say hello?
Yeah, hello, I'm around.
Great.
Martin, thank you very much for the opportunity. Actually, you know, we're here, CCL Ghana Accra chapter. You know, we are beginning some few projects because we are just gathering ourselves together as a team, you see. So I posted some of the informations on the chat line, you know, how to reduce single use of plastic. And then probably recently we had some issues turning up concerning our forest reserve area, where, you know, we had the controversy towards it being divested into a family name. And, you know, there was a controversy towards it. So we also showed our opinion by saying, you know, how profitable forest lands are, you know, beneficial to we human beings and the climate as well. We are pleading with the government to do something about it so that, you know, we don't lose that nature as well. So in all this aspect, I think those are the positive things we are doing as at now. To say the beginning of anything, that's what we are doing now. And I appreciate being part of this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frederick. Yeah, I mean, I think deforestation is one of the major issues in Africa, and the drought. Those are two big things in Africa. We also have Linda from Tunisia on the line. I don't think we have met. Linda, are you there? And if so, if you could say hello and share some of your story.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Yes, Linda.
I'm from Tunisia. I'm an English teacher. I have been teaching for about 35 years. I'm just an active member at my school and conducting a Go Green organization and having some students plant trees and the flowers at the schoolyard. Yeah.
And Linda, can you tell us a little bit about Tunisia and what types of...
Yeah, Tunisia, the main problem in Tunisia is the problem of drought and the problem of plastic waste. Now, near my house, it's unbearable. We have a lot of plastic bottles everywhere. And also because of the lack of water and lack of rain, a lot of trees have died and we are really going to desertification, right? That's really terrible, and it really brings tears to my eyes when I remember how things used to be in the past and how I can see now the surrounding area, which is really dry and without any vegetation and greenery.
Wow. Thank you for
And
sharing. Go
there is
ahead.
something else also, because we are going through political turmoil. We can't really implement an effective way to combat climate change and to fight waste. So we are still struggling with the democratic government, which is still at the beginning of its infancy.
Mhm.
So even actions to take care of the environment and to recycle plastic are still at their infancy, right?
Yes.
Still, yeah.
Thank you, Linda. That was a very powerful story and very unfortunate about the drought in particular. Plastic is a terrible thing. Even in the United States, we have terrible plastic problems, and everybody is using too much plastic. So it has to stop. I'd like to bring Jessa from Zimbabwe. Jessa is a major Mother Earth Project activist in Zimbabwe and is our new director of Zimbabwe. So please go ahead, Jessa.
All right, thank you, Baton. Hi, how are you, everyone?
Can you share
Yes,
something about? Go ahead.
Yes, can you share with me and others the sculpture that you shared before, the one that we painted?
Yes.
That's where my message is based on.
Yes, 1 second.
Yeah, okay, once you share, I'll be explaining about the picture.
There you go.
Yes, there you see. Yeah, there you can see the other side, to your right side, where there is a lot of deforestation, where people, they are cutting down trees, and we are facing land degradation in Zimbabwe. You know, Zimbabwe is vasted in minerals like gold, so we have miners, they are everywhere, mining activities taking place everywhere in Zimbabwe. So this is causing a lot of harm to our environment, land degradation, and the people, they don't have areas where to cultivate for their crops because of this activity. And as you can see, we are coming from the mountain side of Manicaland, which is Mutare, the fourth largest city in Zimbabwe. And this area is covered with mountain, but all the trees that we've been seeing some 10, 15 years ago, they've since cut down by the people for firewood. So this is the challenge that we are facing here in Zimbabwe. And also we are facing the other problem about waste management, where people, they throw away plastics everywhere. And the president himself of Zimbabwe, last year he launched the program where every first Friday of every month we do a cleanup campaign across the country to try and minimize the plastic waste. But this is not enough, because us coming from Manika Youth Assembly,
Sorry, I lost you.
And we need to do it every day. It's an everyday activity, not once a month. So that's what I have for now. I just wanted to share a little about Zimbabwe.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jessa. And like I said, Jessa is very active in activating communities in Zimbabwe. And he's very, very determined and has a lot of endurance. I see that we have other people on the call. If there's anybody that would like to speak, please raise your hand. I mean, I see that we have Fahad from Nigeria that has just joined us. Sandra, do you have, are we sort of, I guess, reaching the end of our
We just have here a new guest, and I mean, there's an international audience here.
Okay.
And maybe some of you are not aware, but there are also indigenous people here in Sweden and in Finland, Norway, and they call it the Sami. And they're reindeer herders.
I'm not the reindeer, but
well, yeah, but they did. But maybe you can also, because they here at the People's Forum, there also was a delegation from indigenous people from all over the world, and what they discussed, or maybe you can also say something, is the rights of Mother Nature.
Yeah. Most of these do.
Yeah, you have to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, if you could bring the person forward so we can, please introduce yourself, come closer to the screen.
Kind of strange to,
yeah. Forward.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you.
Just there. Both right there. That's
My name
look
is-
at that right there. Look there. Look straight at that.
This is the
tiny
camera.
picture.
Okay.
This is the camera.
Please go ahead.
My name is Tore Torda. I live 40 kilometers west from Jokkmokk in Norrbotten County in Sweden. I'm a Sami activist. I work with this activism since 2006. And we have a decision from the government right now that they want to make this mine in Gallok. They have make a decision about that. So the mining company from England, Beowulf Mining, have permission to blow this open pit mine up. A gigantic destruction of nature and Mother Earth. Yeah. We are protesting against this on every front we can.
Thank you for sharing these words. I know that, can you tell us a little bit about your ancestry and your community?
My ancestors lived in this area for many hundreds of years. They were hunting, fishing, and reindeer herders. They lived from nature. You can almost not see any trace after them. They protect and they nursed, not nursed, vad fan säger man?
Yeah, nurse. That's right.
Okay, nursed nature.
Nurse nature.
That's a big difference from today when the Swedes came and blew things up, clear cut the forests, drained the valleys, the water, the lakes, the streams, everything. They want to convert to money. That's the only value that exists for them. It's so sad.
Do you have representation at all in the government of Sweden at this point, or not really?
No, the Samis are not represented in the government in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet, perhaps later, after the election in September.
Well, we wish you did.
One of my friends, his name is Henrik Lind from Jokkmokk. Perhaps he will join the parliament.
Yes. I have somebody here from Toronto, Jay Scott. I'm not sure whether she wants to share any words, but she's also dealing with issues related to Indigenous people in Toronto. I'm not sure whether that is something you want to share some of your story, Jay, if you're still on the call. Well, we thank you for your words from Sweden.
Thank you. Have a nice day. I need to rush.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And this is something, I mean, I think we can also share in the community. this initiative, like to give what they said here, the indigenous people, all over the world, they're 5% maybe. But when we talk about land that is rich in biodiversity and not touched, and these are basically the Mother Earth protectors, but they are also persecuted. Some, in Colombia, or, in the Amazon, they're running to, basically protecting their land. They're, from these mining companies and logging companies, they're very much persecuted and threatened with death. I think, DRC, all those.
I thought maybe we could ask James from the Democratic Republic of Congo to share some of his words. He's joined us again. James, why don't you tell us a little bit about the situation in Congo? Share us about some of the struggles and what you are doing. That'd be really awesome. Please go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. There is, I was working last month with children in an area in Ruchuru. So they draw something which I understand now today, because they was drawing something climate and the world situation. If you see on the last parachute we draw last month, you will see children are showing people in the forest who are cutting trees, and others who are fighting on the road. So when I try to explain the situation, the actual situation, it seems like they have something about the actual situation which is now in our region, because after that period we have now rebels from M23 which are fighting the Congolese government, and in the forest there are troops of some FDLR who are cutting trees, and they kidnap the people in the forest. So it seems like sometimes it gave me an idea, sometime which you are in the community, when children or people are drawing something, they explain the reality of that they are living in the place. So you need to be mature and give them time to explain or to draw what they like to do. It can help you to have the real idea of the situation of a country or the idea. It's inspired me. Sorry for my English, but it's something which inspired me, and it was very interesting to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, James. And, I just have to say a small story about the Congo. I was actually near New York City visiting a friend who is a carpenter and makes beautiful furniture with wood. And he basically told me that he uses this special wood from Congo, which he was making beautiful furniture. And the main thing that I found out was that they thought that the wood was sustainable. But now, since talking to James and hearing about the deforestation issues in Congo, I realized that it's really misinformation. But in fact, a lot of these forests are being taken down illegally, and people are selling it around the world, saying that it's sustainable when it's not. So there's a lot of misinformation we have to be careful of. But thank you anyway, James. Sandra, I think we're coming to an end to our meeting, unless there's somebody on the call that would like to share something. Do you have any?
Okay, no, I mean, I think the caller, he will say goodbye, and you know, and then I mean, today is a day of action. I think we also should end this on a positive side. I mean, we now connecting, and well, and then this People Summit is over. Now we're going then to the city center, you know, and be. Yeah, it can also still celebrate World Environment Day. That's on the 5th. And Kola.
That's great, Sandra. And also, before Kola speaks, is there any chance of getting the parachutes involved in the climate strike, or you're not sure at this point?
Well, I'm now in contact with Fridays, and there were also some youth here earlier, and they gave me a suggestion. But it's there's a lot of going on, and I'm going now to this other manifestation. We'll see.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you, and let's finish with listening to some words of hope from Kole from Nigeria. Please go ahead.
Well, usually when meetings like this are about to end, we all tend to sing just to exercise our voices. And let me try one in which we need to celebrate the earth, just like we usually do when we celebrate our birthday. And so we will just go this way. Happy birthday to Earth. Happy birthday to Earth. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, dear Earth. This is just for us to remember that every second is a renewal of our life here on earth. Every time our earth goes round the sun, it is a complete revolution. It is a mission that is complete, but it's a mission that can be aborted if we who live here on earth do not recognize the burden and the responsibility and the rights that we have. It is our only earth, it is the only space we got. And so we celebrate it every moment of our wakeful time. So you all should join me and let us sing happy birthday to Earth, because the birth of Earth is the birth that is in us. We are renewed every time, we are renewed every moment, and we remain new every time we recognize that there's something new the earth has given us, which is called the present. It is only the past that we all are banished like immigrants. No one has a visa to the past except through the memory. The future is a country unknown. Those who would arrive there are still unknown. But it's always hope that in celebration of the earth, in our hearts, in our minds, in our lives, in our practice, the earth will celebrate us. So brothers and sisters, let us all, like we do when we go for birthday parties, once in a while sing, happy birthday to Earth. Happy birthday, dear Earth. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, dear Earth.
Okay, and that's great. If everyone, if it's possible to turn on your video and we can all raise our hands and hold the parachute together. I'd like to finish our parachute project and pretend that we're holding a parachute together around the world. This is our collective parachute that we are sharing together.
This one is going to stay here and be painted in Sweden.
It's,
Yeah.
this has been a very special gathering today. I'm really so pleased to hear so many voices. Everyone, let's keep our hope. Kole, thank you so much for your words of hope. That was really meaningful for me in particular. All the best today for everybody and best wishes.
Best wishes.
Best wishes. Love and peace.
Love and peace. And good luck, Sandra, in Sweden and Stockholm. And I'm sure
Thanks a lot. Best wishes from Tunisia.
It was very nice.
everyone can turn on their microphones and say something.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the meeting. It was nice meeting everybody. Thank you for the parachute work. Thank you for Mother Earth Project.
Thank
you
for
so
the
much
opportunity. It was a very nice time together.
Thank you, everyone, and nice meeting you.
Thank you so much and keep on working.
Thank you very much for the meeting, and thank you very much, everybody. It was very great to see that you are doing, and thank you, Barton, for everything, and Sandra, and everybody.
Okay, everyone, have a great day.